So I got a commenter who's from Jordan Mortal Kombat Advantage. And he said, "This has really struck a chord with me, for sure, as Tekken 8 is my first ever competitive fighting game as King, and I feel like your general fighting game discussion videos alongside Loop's Tekken 8 guide videos should really help me get in the right mindset to level up, as I feel like trying to build the right mindset to learn from my losses and mistakes in game, then it should really help." I'm reading it verbatim. So if it doesn't make sense, because that's how it's written. Also, if you could potentially do a video on building the right learning mindset when going into any fighting game, with Tekken 8 as an example, since it's what you and I are both currently learning to play, I think it would be very beneficial. I agree. So, yeah, let's talk about learning mindsets a little bit. And another commenter in my YouTube, Rock Paper Shifts, said the same thing about how, they've been exposed to my content and now they're thinking about the whole growth mindset approach, which is, totally what I'm talking about. It's a growth mindset. For those who don't know, it's actually, we don't use it in psychology all that much. We don't. Yeah, we don't use it in psych, but it's made it to popular discourse, so folks know what it is. But basically, because growth and fixed mindsets are like hyper specific terms that are a conglomeration of a lot of different psychological features that we kind of separate into its own little domains in psychology that combine to make fixed or growth mindset. But basically, growth mindset is, I can get good at this if I work hard. If I try, I'll get better. I don't need to be innately good at everything. I can just, practice and I'll get better over time. But fixed mindset, those people, they try something new, they don't do well, they get bodied, and their first thought is, I'm not good at this. I'll never be good at this. I should just stop trying. That's the fixed mindset. And if you can tell from how I said it, fixed mindset's not very good, because it limits you in everything you do. This is larger than fighting games. You don't really know what you're capable of until you do it, until you try, and try with real effort. You really don't know. No one knows. And you may never know what you're really capable of doing if you never fully invest yourself and really just dig in and try your hardest. But why don't people do that all the time? Why do people sometimes just kind of say, I'll never be good at this, or if I'm not immediately good at it, or I'm not getting success really quickly at something, then it's not worth it. You'll downplay the thing, right? You'll say all kinds of reasons as to why people who are better than you are just inherently better for some reason, other than that they just maybe tried to get better at the thing and didn't stop. Now, is it possible for some people to just be inherently better at things than others? Yes, there are. And is that fair? No, it's not. But life isn't fair. Okay, it just isn't. It doesn't mean we don't try to make things more fair for people, but the assumptive position of, well, it's not fair that other people are just inherently better than I am at things sometimes, or that things are easier for other people. Yeah, you're right. It isn't fair, but that's what it is. That's just what it is. So what are you going to do with that? Are you going to say, if I'm not inherently good at something, I'm not going to do it? That's one way to go about doing things. But even for those people who things come easy to, at some point in time or another, things get hard. And that point in time, if you have a fixed mindset, even if you're inherently good at something, let's say you are inherently good at this thing, right? So you do it, and you play it, and you do it, and you get better and better and better because you're trying. Then eventually, you hit a wall. If you have the mindset of, I'm going to try hard at things. I'm going to catch up the chat in a second. I have to finish what I'm saying. Then I'll catch up the chat. So keep going, and I'll catch up to you in a second. If you only try things that you think you're good at, Even if you do that and you follow through on, okay, I'm good at this thing already inherently, and you're going to hit a wall eventually, because talent and skill inherently to you will only take you so far. At some point or another, you will hit a wall and you will have to put in some real effort. You'll have to put the same amount of effort that those folks who weren't inherently good at it would have to do if they want to keep doing something that they want to get skilled at as well. No one gets to avoid putting an effort in a skilled activity. We're not talking about things where you can just kind of buy your way through. We're not talking about that. This ain't pay to win. We're talking about skills, okay? You don't get to pay for your skills. You have to actually gain them. You have to actually earn your skills. No one can give that to you. You can't buy it. Am I right? I should say skill. No, when I say skill, I mean skill. Okay, let me catch up to the chat. What's going on over here? It's very funny. I loosely just talked about this on your stream too. Also, we were in ad breaks for the minute. Oh, I'm sorry. At least you were. Yeah, I know everyone gets ad break at the same time. Fixed mindset related to an external focus of control, where the growth mindset is an internal locus of control. Yes, this is also true. We are just okay. Yeah, we were just talking in Loops' stream about the nagging feeling where I and some others feel like our time spent isn't properly reflected in our ranks, and for me can be discouraging. It's a good question. It's a good, interesting topic. And by rank, you should say skill. Well, do you mean rank or do you mean skill? In this case, we must not conflate the two. Boundary, thank you. You mean skill mostly? But do you also mean rank though? When you say mostly, it tells me you mean both. But I do sometimes feel like my rank is reflected. Okay, so I had that video about rank and like anxiety and all that jazz and how your rank is a reflection of your skill, but your rank does not make you skilled, right? It's a proxy for your skill. If everyone is playing ranked seriously and trying to get good, and the rank system's good, and which this rank system is not like horrible, it has problems though. Clearly has problems. But let's just work from the assumptive position that your rank can be a reflection of your skill, right? Let's just say that. And it seems pretty widely understood and believed that like getting stuck at a rank is indicative of a lack of skill. Like if you can't get past a certain rank, then like that's meaningful. Being able to climb the ranks is not as meaningful to some folks. It depends kind of what your barometer for skill is, what matters for you. Like if you're competing in tournaments and you're like a Garu rank and you like are winning tournaments at Garu, then like it doesn't matter. You're clearly not really a Garu rank. You're at that point you're misunderstanding what the meaning of rank is. Rank is an objective measure of how much better than other players are you at this skilled activity. That's what rank is for. That's what rank's supposed to mean. So if you're fucking up the metrics because you haven't played enough rank to actually get your skill to have your rank reflect your skill, then yeah, it's not going to be accurate. But like just like in psychology, we have all these. Like, I do assessments for folks to see like how smart are you in these different, how much ability do you have, how much performance do you have in these different domains, and like yeah, those are normed for people. And when I look at the rank distribution on our little metrics that we've seen so far, it looks pretty normally distributed. It's a little skewed to the left. I mean, to the right, that is. So there's fewer players on the right side of the graph than you would expect there to be. But like, it's not horrible. So it's indicative of like there's something funky going on with the rank system, but the funky thing that's going on is that there are not enough high rank players. That's the funky thing. There should be more higher ranked players than we're seeing. That is the problem currently. That's more like psychometric stuff. Basically, I'm just going to say skill, and when I say skill, I don't mean your rank. I mean your objective, true skill. Because there's too much wrapped up in people's rank, and like there's too much emotion wrapped up in that, and I'm just like I don't want to even engage with that part of it for this part of the discussion of growth mindset. Because like fuck your rank. just think about like your skill, your objective skill level. How good are you at this thing, right? Yeah, well, just for now, fuck the rank. We're just thinking about skill. I don't want to conflate these two at all. They're related, but like, it's just for now, say skill, period. Okay? And if you're stuck at a rank, it means that your skill is stuck too. Okay? That's the other thing. If you're stuck at a rank, that means your skill is stuck as well. You haven't achieved a high enough skill level to get to rank up. That is true. So we can talk about rank insofar as we're talking about being stuck. So growth mindset, right? A growth mindset player who is, let's say both players, you have two players. I gotta think of the example. You got two players. One of them is inherently good and plays this game, Tekken, because they're inherently good at this thing and they just keep playing and playing and playing. But that player who's inherently good has a fixed mindset. So they think that they're good at this game because they're inherently good at it, and they might be. But what will happen to that player when they face challenges in the game, in the skilled activity, that they're going to give up. Or they're going to blame the game. They're going to say the game needs to change. They're going to say all kinds of nonsense about what the game needs to do to change for them, because that player is not willing to either change what they're doing, reflect on why what they're doing isn't working anymore, and basically become better. Like that player who has a fixed mindset that believes my skill is inherent to me. It was imbued to me when I was born, and it's just an inherent quality that I do nothing to train. Just like Frieza, until he became Golden Frieza, right? He didn't train. He was just fucking strong. He was just born that way, and he finally trained a little bit, and he got the gold rank. Get gold, gold form. Golden form. Literally the same thing. Fixed mindset players are pre-golden form Vegeta. Pre-golden form Frieza. Doesn't believe in training. Doesn't believe they can get any better. Doesn't believe there's any reason to get better because they're just best anyway. Now, a growth mindset player is, if you're at a rank, I don't believe, if you're at a rank, you should beat player ranks below you, theoretically. So moving away from the rank for a second, if you're at a certain skill tier, then you could say at some point you technically shouldn't be losing to players who are below you in the skill. However you want to measure it. It could be wins, it could be performance in tournaments, it could be a lot of things. But there is some objective measure of one's skill. Maybe it's unobservable, unmeasurable, but it's there. If we all agree, I think we all do agree that like skill is real, it exists. It's a tangible thing that you can't always really measure, but we all know it's there. We know some players are better than others, period. Fuck at the rank. Just sitting down next to another player, some players are just better. And so, are you no longer better than somebody at this game if you lose to them once or twice? No. That just means you weren't consistent. And like sometimes just random stuff happens. You can do everything right and you can still lose. So that definitely happens. Now, Loops, you can say that too. I agree with you. It's not necessarily true either. Once there's a big enough gap between skills, then like it's very rare for the less skilled player to win at all, but it can still happen. And that less skilled player, if they keep trying, might start to win more and more. No, more. And then at that point, you might say, well, maybe the less skilled player is not so less skilled anymore. So when a stronger player fights a weaker player long enough, and the weaker player starts to win, that doesn't make the stronger player weaker. You are not weaker because more people are now reaching your rank or your skill tier. They've become stronger. So it's not that you're weaker, it's that they're stronger. That's what's happening. I think it's a more effective, mentally like healthy way to think about it. Is they've improved. And maybe you haven't improved as much. And when you get to the top, it's harder to improve anyway. So because the gains are smaller and like the reflection of those gains become smaller and smaller and smaller, and they're harder to find. So yeah, just that's how I would think of that. The other way to think of it is also if there are critical flaws in your gameplay that your opponent is exploiting. Even if they're weaker than you, if they're just good at picking that out and destroying you for it, then they're going to beat you because of a flaw in you, not because of not because you're inherently better than them. It's because you have a weakness that's glaring and so open and invisible that they can beat you for it. Which ties back to our growth mindset and fixed mindset thing. We've kind of gotten off track here. We'll see how this video does, because I just kind of tried to start a couple times now. I got distracted by the chat, which is fine. I like to have chat be a part of the video making process too. It's fine. My videos are always... So I heard some time ago... What? I find it unfair that some characters are so much easier to play than others, like Victor and AstraZeneca versus Ling. That really good players aren't good at hiding their weaknesses? Yes. I guess we can change the topics, whatever, it's fine. We've already kind of talked about growth and fixed mindset enough, I think. What do you think is the most important for cultivating a growth mindset? Consistency? No. Being in a good mental, physical condition? Yes, that helps too. But growth mindset is existing regardless of that. Growth mindset at its core just means you believe you can get better. That's it. That's it. Literally, that's it. If you believe you can get better at a thing, at a skill activity, you have a growth mindset. It's very simple. Now, you may not know how to get better at a thing. And when that happens, people tend to feel like, I'll never get better. And they go into this mindset of like, I'll never get better at this thing. I can't get better. And really, what's really happening there, sometimes, not always, but sometimes, it's just that the approach you're currently taking is not working. Like I've said in that video that popped off, you have to be willing to get rid of things that aren't working for you. That includes your training methods. If a method's not working for you, it may have gotten you to where you are, but it won't take you to the next level. You have to get to the next level, you have to change something. You have to re-examine how you play, how you approach, how you train. And that is why I train the way I do. I've had a lot of folks in chat still ask, how long have you been playing this game? People are like, how are you so strong so quickly? I used to say, well, I'm not that strong. Which, I'm strong enough, actually, that I shouldn't just blush it off. Like, oh, I'm not strong. Like, I'm strong enough. Okay, I'm strong enough for someone to say that. I think it's because of the approach I have. Yeah, they're trophies. They're trophies. I've won like 30 tournaments, 27 plus tournaments over the course of my years of playing this game. There are 2 right there. So 2 victory things. It was only a main game for one of them, so only one of them is a big thing. The other one's a small trophy. Like a little, circular thing. And that joystick over here, I won, I think. I think I won that at some point in time or another, whatever, doesn't matter. It's a hitbox now. That's one I built. I built that one from scratch. I kind of want to show it. I'm going to show it. Hold on. This is my first hitbox. This is the one. This is the one that I traveled all around with. And it's 2 tournaments, it's 2 sticks. This is like the old Mad Catz tournament edition stick. And it's like we have the white piece here. That was from one of them. I have 2. I had to get 2 of them because it broke. And the second one's like here because the PCB inside broke after a while. So that was the first one. Then I finally got that one eventually. It's much better. The new one, much better. Much, much better. So you should totally build it. Do it, build it, make it real. Make it a thing. So oof. How do you differentiate between a method not working for you and a method you've just not given enough time and effort? When do you cut your losses, so to speak? This is when a coach is important. Actually, this is where coaching comes in. This is what coaches are for. Always been apprehensive about switching to leverless. You don't have to switch to any method that you don't have to. And all input methods work for everyone if you find it works for you. You don't have to switch just because it's the hot thing. I think this is an objectively better way to play the game, but like, I'm biased. For me it is. I also think it is for everyone, but people used to say that about joysticks, and they were objectively wrong because pads are actually better. Pads were actually better, as we're seeing, and leverless are better too. So joysticks are actually the worst. Way easier buttons for you. Yeah, for you personally, it might be. Depends on how good. Once you're good at the input method, it's better than like anything else for a lot of things. I'm telling myself if I can do leverage, probably, yeah. I think it's more optimal, but I would like to take a long time learning. Yeah, you might. I'm too comfortable on pad. Yeah, I'm not saying you get to switch. This is not a switch to hitbox. Maybe not. Kind of. It's your first Tekken. It's my first serious Tekken. Yeah, I play casually in all of them. Yeah, wait for the Neuralink. Wait for the Neuralink, like Loop says. They are correct. Loop's nope is true. But this idea of how do you know when the method's not working for you? You know, to be fair, to be truthful, you don't know when a method's not working for you. And what makes it even harder is that sometimes one way of training works until it doesn't. Why did you choose Ling as your character? Because I've been playing her since I was a kid. Ask 7-year-old Tricky. I don't know. I can't answer that. I would if I could. I know better why I play Eileen than I do Ling. What was I saying? Cutting your losses, right? Why it's hard. So because basically, sometimes a method will work for you until it stops working. So what I do is that, as you've noticed, I have notes. And I basically kind of keep track loosely. How effective is this note? Is this tactic? Is this method of training working for me? And I measure it working for me based on match results. Am I winning more? Do I feel like I'm in more control of my character? Am I losing to opponents who I pretty much, from my objective point of view, am better than? Understand the game better than? And just am better overall? But I'm still losing to them? Trying this tactic or method out? Okay, then that might mean this method may not be really that viable right now. What you'll find sometimes is as you climb up in skill, certain tactics that were not available to you at lower skills of play, not because you couldn't execute them. I mean, quite literally, the tactic is not viable for use at low levels of play because of the kind of choices that low level players will make. For instance, that law player, I was able to use jumping 1 more often, and even jumping cancel 1, cancel, right? And cancel into uppercut. That doesn't work against a lower level player. That doesn't work against someone who doesn't know there's a low there that they're trying to low parry. That's what I mean by like there are certain tactics you don't get to use until later. So just like certain tactics you don't really get to use till you're fighting more stronger opponents, there are certain training methods, training approaches, and things to focus on that will not really give you the maximal results at lower levels of play. And that's also a reason why some people get stuck, is that they keep trying to do the things that got them like through beginner, got them to intermediate, but now they're getting stuck at intermediate, or they're getting stuck at, more often people get stuck at advanced intermediate because they've gotten really good. They can beat most people, but they can't beat the best. And to be frank, the best aren't going to tell you how to beat them. They're just not. It's one of the benefits of me not coming from this game. I can say that to you. And be honest. It's like, no, the best players aren't going to tell you exactly how to beat them. They're just not. Okay? If that's who you're trying to beat, you're not going to get the answer from them. They'll lie to you. Okay? So you have to figure that out on your own at that point. When you start to become a threat to them, a legitimate threat to the best, you can no longer go to them for advice or depend on them to give you the right answer to a solution, because you're too close. Once you've established yourself as at their level, then you can start to exchange information, and like they'll start to share tactics and info with you. But if you're like just below them, you're not getting the goddamn thing from them that's gonna be useful. It's just facts. I'm giving you hard truth here, okay? That's more of a Western thing too. I haven't found that to be the case in like Japan necessarily, specifically. Actually, they're really open with info there. Different. So this is more of a Western centric thing, maybe, but you know we're in the West right now, so it's relevant to us. This is part of why certain regions haven't gotten good. It is gatekeepy. Well, it depends depends how you think of competition. So like, again, you're at the top, right? Just giving a sass. You're at the top, right? Very tippy top. And there's this new hotshot who's like not good enough yet to beat you, but if they just fix a few things here and there, they would be. You might not want to help that person. Because if you do, now they become a real threat to you. If all you care about is winning. Which, if you can make a lot of money doing this, you probably do care about winning. Okay. Which is why I'm saying, when you want to get to this break advanced intermediate level, rising tide raises all ship. It does, to a point, for some people. Now, I don't do this because, as you see, I train people to get better at this. I'm a virtual fighter. People who could beat me, and if they got better, would probably force me to have to get better, and then I could finally maybe get good enough to be competition for players in Japan. But let's say I was already at like Japan skill level for a virtual fighter, and we already had a scene of players that were also kind of at that level, and there was nothing more to go towards. Like, we're all at the top already. We're at the top of the mountain. And we are the kings of this mountain. We are the kings and queens of the mountain. We rule this mountain. And there are like 5 of us. Do we want another one on this mountaintop with us? What I'm seeing is most people say no, they don't actually want another person at the top of the mountain. The rest of us do because it's more fun. But if you're in the top, they're not going to help you. They're just not. Consistently, that's what's going to happen. That's wild to me, low-key. It is, but like, think about like any other industry. Like, are the best are the captains of industry helping other competitors get better when they can be threats to them? No. They might buy them out. They might destroy them. They might just literally destroy them. So, you know, Tournaments are no different. And the tippy top of player base are no different. When they're the best in the world. But you get it. It's rare for one to be willing to... I never told you not to use Plateaus. Fuck it, Limey. Can I remind you of basketball circles? Some only share those they respect. Exactly, Matthew from YouTube. That's exactly the case. So yeah, once you're at their level, once you're on the mountain with them, then they'll share information with you. But you have to be at the mountaintop already. So what I'm trying to tell you is how to get to the top. That's kind of the whole focus of my channel. Gatekeeping is real? Yeah. At the top it is. For, again, reason, like you can understand why. You know? People at the best, people who are at the best at these things are very competitive. It's just the way it is. Like the Luma, yes. We have it in Virtual Fighter 2. You know, we have it. All games have this, really. At the very top level. And it's also like you can't really tell somebody what they have to do to break through advanced intermediate. Like, because there's not one thing you have to do. It's a whole conglomeration of things. And like, you kind of have to figure that out on your own. Because no one's inside your head. No one knows really what you need to do. So they can't even tell you they wanted to. They can help maybe guide you there. But they can't be like, this is exactly what you have to do. You have to do this. No, really, you have to figure it out on your own. They can help you by playing and training with you. But at the end of the day, you have to figure it out. Because what makes the best is more that they've figured out what their strengths are. And they figured out what their weaknesses are. Like this other commentator was saying, that the best players are good at hiding their weaknesses. They're only good at hiding their weaknesses to weaker players. Other strong players can see the weaknesses in them. Just part of why they'll share tech with other strong players. Because like, they know we can see it. So there's no point in hiding it because it's already visible to us, basically. But they can also see our weaknesses. So we can all see each other clearly. And once you're at that point, there's no point in hiding anything. So oftentimes a player who hasn't reached that tippy top hasn't figured that out yet. And hasn't figured out, how do I see the weaknesses in this player that I'm facing who's stronger than I am? And even if they're still stronger than you, if you can still see the weaknesses and target those things, you'll earn the respect of that stronger player. Because they'll know, oh shit, this person, they're going to be really strong one day. Once they kind of figure out how to kind of plug their own holes, they're able to see what I'm not doing properly. They're able to see the inherent weaknesses of my choices. Hey, Bree. And they're going to fuck me up for it, eventually. It's a matter of time. What's going on? I got very angry and just started losing hard versus the character I don't understand yet. But I remember, then I remember Tricky. Calm down, and I'm now studying in the lab again. Let's go, Mr. Crab. Let's go. So yeah, end of the story is study your character, study your matchups. You'll get mad. We all get mad, and that's cool. It's fine. Winning mentality right there. Take notes, peeps. Only way is up. Yep. And if you are one of my viewers who are like really, really strong at your game, like you're at the top, or you're trying to break that top level, trying to break into top 8 or whatever, or like win your tournaments more often, or like beat the best of the best in your region, right? The best in your region most likely will not help you get there. You'll have to do something akin to what I've been doing with Virtual Fighter, which is like, I had to look at my spreadsheets. I had to look at my, risk reward system. I basically leaned into my own strengths, and my strengths are data, keeping track of multiple options at once, statistical analyses, weighing percentages, in real time. I have a lot of space in my mental stack to manage a lot of shit. So I have like a large mental stack, a larger than average, most likely. So like I can do that. So I play in a way that leverages that skill set that is inherent. Like that, I didn't train that. I just happen to have it. Everyone has internal relative strengths and weaknesses. That's just you. You have to get to know yourself. Get to know, what are you really good at? What are you not so good at? Can you compensate for the things you're not so good at with the things you're good at? Are you good enough at the things that you're good at to compensate for the things that you're weak at? And if your weaknesses are so weak that it brings everything down, then try to bump up the weakness. Because even if you grow in skill, you'll always be limited by your lowest stat. Whatever you're worst at will hold you back more than anything else. It's like an anchor. An anchor, your worst thing is anchoring you down. It's like a fucking lead weight. And once you pick it up just a little bit sometimes, it will free you up in other ways. Is there any training routine for Tekken, like something I can use as a guideline? I play Kazuya if it matters. I'm probably not the best one to ask because I don't know enough about Tekken yet. Main Man probably knows way better. I can give you more general advice, more general tips. Another point in this conversation is not assuming that your weaknesses are innate. Yeah, they're not. Don't take it for granted. Practice. Well, some weaknesses. I have some weaknesses in me anyway that are innate. Like they're just there, and I can't do anything about them. I can't get rid of them. I can compensate for them, but I can't. Like they're just a part of me, and I can't do anything about inherently in of itself. In terms of skills, there are certain skills that I'm not so good at. And that's not innate. It's related to some innate things, but it's not innate. I can get better at those things if I really want to. Isn't it best to turn weaknesses into strengths? Yeah, that's a meme. It's a common statement, but like a true weakness is a weakness. Like it actually, like it's an objective, relative weakness. Period. It doesn't become a strength. A weakness is a weakness. A real weakness is a true weakness. And you can learn to work with it to make it not hamper you, not be as a weakness. But like if it's a really weakness in your play or weakness in like your cognitive abilities, it's a weakness. It's just this is. Yeah, right. That's the job interview answer exactly. But in real life, reality, the answer that will be utility for you is that no, a real weakness is actually a weakness, and you have to address it sometimes by making it not so impactful or making it not as much of a weakness, right? And certain weaknesses are critical. Like there are certain weaknesses like you can't compensate for. I don't expect anyone here is having those kind of problems, most likely. And even then, like some certain innate weaknesses you can compensate for a lot by like skilled practice, just getting better at the skill set. But there are, like I want to be honest, there are some weaknesses that like when it comes to fighting games, if you have them and they're too big, you won't hit the very top. You'll get good. You can get very good, but like you'll miss the top. And that's what you want. That's your goal, then you're gonna get really frustrated. But that's very rare, and not most people. Yeah, right. It really depends on what the weakness is exactly. It totally depends on what it is. It's hyper aware and hyper specific. But I also like the internet's big. A lot of people are here. Some people might be that person, and I don't want to give them false hope. I want to be realistic about the reality of it. But most people aren't. Most people will be fine. Will we post it related so you can refer back to? This is a fighting game. First fighting game I've actually taken time to learn. These discussions help a lot. Yeah, I'll post this. I don't know what I'm gonna call it. I don't know what I'll call it. But I love that y'all just like hanging out and talking to me too. I had that fun. I had fun to me too. You're good at reflecting, but I take a while and tend to repeat my mistakes though. Well, that repeating mistakes is just practice. That just comes down to practice. Reflection and learning first is so good for gaming. Yeah. I mean, you can do too much of it. A strength can become a weakness as well. So that can happen. So you have to Everything has to be just the right amount. The Goldilocks zone. But yeah, don't take anything for granted. Like, don't assume that I can't break throws. I'll never be able to break throws. No, just practice. I can't punish moves. No, just practice. And sometimes it's boring. You know? Sometimes you gotta do the boring thing until you get to do the thing that's not so boring. That's okay. That's a part of getting good at something too. The whole process isn't always fun. There's a whole lot of part of the process that is not fun. And the players who are willing to go through those unfun parts are the ones who become the best. I used to think my reactions are bad, but never set up the situation I was having trouble reacting to. Yeah. So like certain things like reactions, you can kind of hack. So let's say you have bad reactions. Like your reactions are just objectively worse than everybody else's if you were to measure it. And compare it to like population of people that exist in the world. Your reactions are objectively worse than everybody else's. Okay, so what are you going to do about that? How can you work around that? Well, you can make your reactions faster by limiting your set of things you're reacting to. Because in a fighting game, your reactions slow down because there's so many things you got to worry about. But if you're only looking for 1 or 2 or 3 things, if you use your ability to read your opponent, then you can limit the amount of things you have to react to, which in turn makes you react faster. So it really only matters is your reactions too slow to react to what I need to in this game? Most people, again averages, aren't going to be so slow at reacting that they can't play these games. If they are to narrow the amount of things they try to react to. Lower the mental stack. Yes. Right. The smaller your stack, the easier it is to react to things. How do you handle and train yourself? Also, is it cool you play saxes like Lisa Simpson of Tekken? She's cool to me. I do play saxophone, yes. Priming, yes, right, you're priming your brain. Exactly. For those who don't know, priming is when it's a neurological process when you basically get your brain's neurons pre-fired, basically like in a pre-firing state, so that if any little tiny thing is like potentiated, boom, it goes off. That's one of the ways you can speed your reactions up, is by priming your brain to be ready, by basically getting your neurons ready to go. I am looking forward to Eddie Gordo, yeah. Hey Fizby 12. So yeah, that also works. What else we got here? I think I answered all the questions. What do you think about training your weaknesses versus leaning on your strengths? Yes, you do well, eventually. You will, at different skill levels, skill tiers, how many minutes or hours do you train a day? You only need like 20 to 15 minutes a day, at least. All my training has been online, you've seen it, so you can see everything I've done. It's all there. Some of my early ranked sets are not there, but so it's a little more time than you can see, but any training for throw breaks? Yes, I have a video on that. Let me link you the video. Let's pull that one right up. Consistency is key, but also hard. Consistency comes with time. That's one of those things that comes with time. And space practice. Let's see, throw breaks. Throw. There it is. Copy link. I just posted it in the chat. You in Twitch. You'll grind out situations, then when it's time to apply it. There you go. Yeah. Totally, I know. Y'all can answer each other. Y'all can answer each other's questions too. Like, I'd like that. How many minutes, hours do you train per day? Yeah, I already answered that. And like knowing the situation where you can like use sonic fingers for Steve. Yeah. If you basically you want to simplify things. If you're having a hard time reacting to stuff, you want to simplify, and continue to simplify until you can react. I just need you to be my sensei. I kind of am already. Here. Set the bot to random throws. That also works. Wait, you can do that? I have to record it. That too. Tricky senpai. I do have a Discord email. I have a Discord command, so it works. It works. You can hit Discord and you'll get my link if you do it. So I have to make merch now too. Yeah, that's the Discord. What does your training regimen consist of? And how come you only... No. I've only been trained. I'm saying minimum that if you're trying to get better at something. The key... So, what matters to my drink box, it's just a mod. It's just a bunch of mods. And it's constantly changing, so it's hard. It's hard to keep up. The key thing you're trying to... to be honest, if you're trying to practice a certain technique, don't do too much too little, but more consistent. Yes. Okay. Yes. Sleep. Exactly. Perfect. I'm glad you already were going there. Right. So sleep. So we're getting into skill development here. We're getting into cognitive psychology again. And in cognitive psych learning methods, there are a couple of ways that, what do we say? There are procedural skills. And there's another kind of skill that I'm forgetting. But basically, you learn them differently. There are things that, like playing the piano. It's a procedural skill. You have to like do it like this, right? And there's other kind of knowledge you have to gain too, like just information, like the letter A, or like how many alphabet letters there are, like or like what's the definition of a word. Okay, those are two different kinds of skills that you have to gain, and the way you train those two different skills is different if you're trying to optimize them. Which I do, so I train them. So all my training is built around what we know about how we learn from psychology. And it's like I know it's called semantic and procedural. I'll just Google it. God damn it! I want to learning procedural versus declarative. There it is. Declarative. That's the other one. Procedural and declarative. Okay. There it is. Procedural is like a skilled thing, like riding a bicycle. And then declarative is like knowing the definition of a word. So for us, in fighting games, procedural is combos, is doing strings, is the moves that your character does and knowing how to do them, perform them, how to do movement. All of that, that's procedural. The other kind of memory is declarative, which for us is frames. How fast is your attack? How many frames do you get on block on attack? What attacks are your block punish moves? Is that block punishable move that you just got in front of your face? That's declarative. It's information that you just have to know. That's declarative. And the way you get that in your brain is different than the way you get procedural knowledge in your brain. Procedural knowledge gets in your brain when you sleep. Sleeping is super important for that. If your sleep is fucked, you will not get better at a good rate. And if it's really fucked, you're not going to get better at all. Like, you're just not. Your brain needs rest. And it needs to have time to consolidate the information and like kind of wire it in your brain. You have to sleep if you want to get better at executing things. And you can't grind it. There's no grinding for that. You cannot grind out a procedural skill. You literally have to sleep. So there's only so much better you can get a day. And that requires sleep. Now, technically, you could train for a little bit, take a nap. Train some more, take a nap. That would work. That actually would work. It would optimize things. But like, you got jobs, y'all. Y'all working. So you have to space the practice out with sleep, and also the spacing it out helps makes the wiring stronger and stronger in your brain. So the longer you spend playing, that by itself doesn't make you learn it. It helps, but that's not all that matters. It also matters, are you sleeping enough? Are you eating enough? If you're not eating enough, your brain's not going to wire properly. If you're not sleeping enough, it's not going to consolidate the memories that you just formed that day properly. If your mood's all fucked up, you're not going to remember stuff very well. Probably 12 hours a day, he wants to need an operation on his hand, depends how good you want to get. I would take caution at taking the advice of players who are just like super strong too, because you can do very bad things for yourself and get very good at it. Doesn't mean it's a good way to do it, and doesn't mean it's the most effective way. It worked for them, but like, he had to get an operation in his hand, right? So that's why I like using psychology as a way to optimize things, because just because you've gotten good at a thing doesn't mean it was the most efficient way to do it. Remember in math, when you start solving problems, it's hard, then you formula sticks, but if you do a different problem requiring a different formula, it's hard to go back to the prior problems, the prior formula, but the things you're learning. Right. You want it, or you can also call it interference effect. You're trying to interfere with the learning. So you learn one thing and you kind of interfere with something else, and then it helps strengthen it. So long as you've mastered it enough. If you start interfering too soon, you'll fuck both of them up and you won't learn anything. And it'll slow the process down. So that's a really advanced concept that I don't use that often, personally. Actually, I just I focus on one thing. And then I bring more and more things into that one thing until I feel like I've gotten everything I can out of that one thing. And then once I feel like I've gotten it pretty well, I do another thing. And I do the same thing there, same thing there, same thing there. And I just keep going around and around and around, and I'm bringing things together. And eventually those things that are unrelated, I bring together as well. But I let them be their own thing for a little bit. Like right now, I'm focused on jabs. Right then, I'll focus on throws. That's how I was focused on combos. That's how I was working on dashing. I do fast cards because I fucking hate flashcards. But if you like them, lovely for you. They are quite effective for those who find them to be effective. I missed some comments that were there. It was pretty good. Or questions that were in the YouTube chat. Oliver, thank you. So many concepts that come up, which reminds you of undergrad and postgrad. Well, I am a professor. I'm a grad school. I teach. I've taught. I was a professor for like a semester. So I'm a professor. The similarity to that style is because I am. You're in a class right now, okay? This is what this is. You actually are in a class. You're in my class right now. This is how I teach when I'm teaching classes too. So, yeah, this is the same style I use. Interesting. How to body people. Mr. Tricky is a good tag. You're the most unlikely tracker player you've ever seen. Potentially. You teach, that explains so much. Yeah, exactly. I mean, psychologists are also teachers too. Ones who practice, like ones who have like practices. You're also teaching your patient how to like be a person in the world. You're teaching them about themselves, how to learn about themselves. So there's a lot of teaching involved in that too. As a psychologist, what do you think is the best way to wake up at the same time every day? I mean, for your sleep hygiene? Yeah. Go to bed at the same time every day. Wake up at the same time every day. Have a ritual you go through when you go to bed, before you go to bed. So, what question? Is Sobekin going to be on the test? Yes. Yes. If you do not break waning moon, you will lose the test. Yeah. Juan's probably the best. Yeah, I mean, I don't know who the best is. I would just say, like, if, like, whenever you hear like a story of like a really, really good person, any skilled activity, and like they talk about how they who I play in Tekken team. Okay, it's your first time here. Chat. I'll let chat answer that for you. It's anyone can answer that. Um, have you ever smoked one of your students at Tekken? I don't know. I wouldn't know. Since you did your team up with Loops, I kind of want to see more Eileen Trickling collabs. Is it your morning card easier? Yeah. What else was there going on? Trying to catch up. Psych major, cool. That's like when you're way too into a game, or like the opposite when you're learning a game for the first time, like too much forcefully and your brain can't soak it all in a little. Yeah, I do play instruments. Yeah, I'm a musician as well. I'm a professional musician. I get paid to do it. Bro, I have to turn in my 20s straight. Yes, you do. Yeah, learning Tekken is also not different from that too. So this is also how I learned how to get good at a skill. Learning music is identical to learning fighting games. Just like how in fighting games there's a conversation happening between you and your opponent. In music, same deal. There's a conversation between you and your fellow bandmates. And you're not speaking, you're speaking with your instrument. You have to be able to understand and hear what's coming and be fluid and adjust and meld and make a really beautiful piece of music together in real time. I played jazz, so that's like improv is really important. Listening and being reflexive and doing things, and it's really fun. Gilbot? Who's Gilbot? Oh, Dealbot. You can't hide from me? Yeah, I mean, we'll do more. Loops has been in the other chat. He's been right there. There they are, right there, right? There they are. Help me out. They've been all around. Music taught me to have faith and practice. May sound bad now, but the next day you'll sound better. Yes. Didn't remember to tell you when I saw you, but that was rad. Thank you, Gilbert. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. The collab didn't do so well on my stream, on my side, but you know, that's fine. I'm glad we did. I would do it again. I wasn't like really. I didn't have any expectation of like how that would do, like its content necessarily, but need more Loops collabs. I gotta cross over with everyone and get your names out there so we can get you with some more people. I agree. Yeah, I just like supporting each other. Like that's like-minded folks is really. It's really the thing. It's really the thingy. You'll have been so good for your fighting game mental. People need that. Yeah. Yeah, they do. They really do. But I'm still just taking it all in, Gamer Boy. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna end it here. Who are we gonna raid? Is Juicebox streaming? No, he's not. Damn, Juice! It's okay. I rated him like 2 days in a row. Who's left? We could get you to TK Tekken God Piling. I think we'll send you to him. Unless you want to watch Smash. He's also a Smash streamer. Zane stream, but he has like so many streams. He doesn't need it. He's fine. He's doing fine. I'll send you to P Godling. Lord Knight is on Tekken if you want. I don't actually follow him on Twitch. Watch his videos. I saw him once I saw him a couple of times at tournaments. There he is. Is he streaming? It's a bod. Oh, he has so many streamers. Yes, he has like a fuck ton of viewers. He doesn't need it. I like to raid other folks who are like smaller because it can help them out. If you're like 100 plus, you're fine. You don't need my raid, you know. All I have is P God Ling, which is fine. Tekken God Ling. We like him. He's dope. He's awesome. Eris used to apply the book, The Art of War to Tekken Theory. Yeah, it means that's good. I've read that book as well. I read it when I was a kid. It's a good book. Yeah, P Ling's always good. It's always good to read. And like you are all Ling enjoyers. Why not go watch the best around? And no one's gonna get him down.